Alright guys, I think it's about time we talked about this, and I don't care how off the cusp this is, because we need to talk about Six Flags. What the frick are they doing? So if you couldn't tell how spontaneous this video is already, news has very clearly provoked me making this video, and that is Six Flags Great Adventure, just a few hours ago, before I started recording this, has delayed the opening of their new for 2026 coaster. The record-breaking launch coaster that has already started construction has been pushed back to 2027, and also they have canceled their Holiday in the Park event for this winter indefinitely, I'm guessing. So we are just going to reflect on the past year since the merger of Cedar Fair and Six Flags, and why I'm kind of starting to hate them. Let's dive in. Now, I'm essentially going to run down a few reasons as to why I really don't like how the new Six Flags is, what direction they're going, first of all, and how they themselves have operated in this first year since the merger. And we're going to start on a very similar note to the news that I just shared with you, and that is the event cancellations. Now, Six Flags Great Adventure is not the first to cancel an event, let alone delay a coaster, but we'll get to that later. King's Dominion recently, well, not recently, a few months ago, they announced that Winterfest would not be returning. Now, we kind of all understood that. It was a pretty low-earning event in terms of the money side. But now, we've got two event cancellations in probably the past week because Michigan's Adventure canceled their fall event for the same reason that Six Flags Great Adventure canceled their winter event, and that was to focus on the core operating season. Bullcrap. And I would read off this professional statement if half of it was true and I had enough time, which I don't, and I don't care. I'm not believing anything that this says for 1 second, and that is because I just simply don't believe that focusing on the core operating season is a real reason. It is a sugarcoat. I am confident. So Six Flags, can you stop being the greedy corporation that you are for just 1 second and give us some transparency? Give us a real reason why you are canceling these events. I would let it slide if it was just Six Flags Great Adventure, but this has been happening across multiple parks. So please, just give us some transparency is all. Not just a professional sugarcoat. Which brings me to my next point, the layoffs. Now, if you don't know about this whole situation, this happened around the time that King's Dominion announced that Winterfest would not be returning, sorry. Essentially what happened was this. 3 parks, I believe, maybe more, laid off dozens of full-time and maybe some part-time employees as well. I know King's Dominion was involved in it, and if I remember correctly, Carowinds and Cedar Point were also involved in this. They laid off dozens of employees, and again, no transparency. They did not give us a real reason why they did this, which it kind of makes sense because this is sort of a inner circle, behind the scenes sort of operation here, but firing a bunch of employees affects the guests too. So it's kind of our business. So we kind of reserve the right, rather, to know why they are doing this, because it doesn't just affect the employees, it doesn't just affect the company, it affects us, the people who visit these parks. Again, I have no idea why they did this, but again, Six Flags, transparency, just a little bit of it. That's all we need. Oh my goodness, there is a cicada outside my door, and it's annoying. Anyway, to sum up this little reason why I don't like Six Flags anymore, that is, again, very similar to the event cancellations. Just give us a little transparency. They did not say a word about this. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. They did not say a word about these layoffs. They just kind of did them, and boop, gone. People out. So what? Six Flags, just give us some reasons why you are doing what you're doing, why you're doing these things, and don't try to professionally sugarcoat it, okay? Next topic. Oh, these next 2 reasons are some absolute doozies as to why I don't like this company anymore. So, you will know as soon as I say the two words mass removals. We all know what happened back in 2024, unless you've been living under a heck of a rock. King Ka, Green Lantern, Nighthawk, Anaconda, Superman Escape from Krypton. What do all of these rides have in common? They got shut down. This isn't exactly why I didn't like what they did here. It wasn't the ride removals themselves, other than King Ka, because I never got to ride that. It was the way they went about things. Now, what I'm saying here is people had the chance to ride Ka and Green Lantern. You know why? Rumors. They may not have been true, but they were. They ended up being true. And a lot of people did not get the chance to ride these two coasters before they got scrapped, as well as all the other rides that Great Adventure scrapped. You know why? The park didn't say a single word about it. Now, I do get why they did not say a word about Ka, Green Lantern, and half of the park getting removed, and that's because they didn't want to get publicly humiliated by the amount of backlash that they would have received if they had said something about it. But that doesn't justify the countless other rides that they removed in the worst possible fashion. We did not get to say goodbye to Nighthawk, Anaconda, Superman, etc. Now, a lot of those rides aren't exactly fan favorites, but hey, I liked Nighthawk. I liked Anaconda. I wouldn't have minded getting one final season to ride those, one last chance to ride those rides. Like, do what Universal did with Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. Wait one season. I'm sure it wasn't that urgent to remove these rides. Wait one season. Give them another chance to ride these rides before you go and scrap them. It's that simple. Well, maybe not for Superman, because that's an intimate, and who knows what was wrong with that. Moving swiftly on from that, we have, last but not least, the biggest reason why I do not like this company right now. And that is because they have continuously failed to keep and maintain the promises and standards that they set for the opening and reopening of their rides. Now, for those who don't already know where I'm going with this, let me take you back to a couple years ago with Georgia Surfer, now known as Georgia Gold Rusher, at Six Flags Over Georgia. Wow, that's a lot of Georgias. And Flash Vertical Velocity at Six Flags Great Adventure. Did you know that those were originally supposed to open in 2024? Notice, they opened in 2025. What happened? There were delays. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, if there were any that I missed, any delays that I missed, because I know I'm missing a few in my brain right now. Let me know down below. Corrections are welcome. Anyway, let me take you to a few months ago. Quantum Accelerator at Six Flags New England. That gets delayed to 2026. For a good reason. From the manufacturer themselves, Intamin, they wanted that delayed. I digress from that point. The new for 2026 record-breaking launch coaster, that is the pièce de résistance of this whole $2 billion plan to expand the Six Flags chain, that's been delayed to 2027. And Pantherian, oh my goodness, this one hits home, literally, because I'm a local. I live 90 minutes from King's Dominion, so this one I'm especially mad with. Pantherian was formerly known as Intimidator 305. That was renovated. That should have been open 5 months ago. It should have been open with the park. Then they delayed it to early summer, which, by the way, they timed the announcement so horrible. It was literally the night of pass holder previews when they announced they would delay it. Imagine how mad the people were who showed up to pass holder preview and weren't planning to wait 3.5 hours for Raptera like I did. Early summer hits, nothing, no word from the park. No, okay, now we're getting the silent treatment again. We're getting ghosted on Instagram or iMessages or whatever you use. Since then, there has been no word from the park as to when this stupid ride will reopen. No, I'm just kidding, Pantherian, you're my number one. I love you. But Six Flags, what are we doing? This is an absolute travesty. If you're gonna make promises, if you're gonna say that this coaster will open on this date, make sure you mean it. That would be nice. So you don't set expectations that you can't meet. And I think this goes for really any theme park out there, no matter who it's owned by. Maintain your promises. That is very important because it's not just about your reputation. It's not just about the money. It's not just about the business. It's about trust. That trust is built with the people that you create experiences with, the guests. If these guests come to your parks expecting that a ride will be open, or even if they're expecting as something as given as a good time, and they don't get that thing that they're expecting, they're going to be disappointed. And they're going to stop coming to the parks. They're going to spread bad word of mouth, and that's lost business. So please, Six Flags, on the very rare off chance that you're watching this, or some official from this corporation is watching this, just try to improve from the mistakes that you made last year, and don't make them again, just like New Year's resolutions. So that concludes this 10-minute long rant. Oh my gosh, this video was way too long. Hope you all enjoyed it. I will catch you in the next one. This has been Storm. I'll see you coaster lovers next time. Thanks for watching.